What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, and welcome to another Geek Tech Talk Live with me, Jeffrey Powers. How you doing? I hope you guys are having a fun, unscheduled time off or time on. I don't know. You might be working hard, and I'm here to help you just kind of get through the day. You can find my socials there. Think Magazine, Put in the Geek. You got me over at geekazine.com. Today we're talking about getting ready for the video call, getting ready for being a guest on a podcast, or maybe even starting your own show on a YouTube or another channel like that. And just like I do, and you're going, well, I just don't want to commit to this bright light studio. You know, a lot of podcasters, they podcast on their kitchen tables. And they set down their microphones and they set down their mixers and they have their conversations and they pack it up and they all just go away. And that's the idea here, is we're going to show you how to do that as well. But we're going to show you how to set yourself up for success. Because there's so many shows that I watch where I'm watching people look like this. It's like, I'm looking at you. They got their laptops on their tables and down low and all that stuff. So what I did, you're also going to see the new studio. Commissioned another area for bigger projects, and we're going to be going over to that studio. It just cleared out, so I don't have any of the foam up to reduce the bounce. I don't have any real lights set up, just a couple lights. I've set it up over there. We've got the switcher ready to go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this on pause and then go over to the other studio. So with that said, with that done, we'll be back. Welcome to one of my new studios. As I expand Geekazine a little bit more, we're going to be expanding into some of the areas here to do a little bit more cool stuff. And of course, we're bum rushing simply because of the fact that everybody's staying at home, and we need to do more content at home. You might need to do more content at home as well. So I've talked with many people. I've worked with many people. I've done a lot of one-on-one interviews online. And when you're at home, chances are this is a similar setup you have. You might have a fancier desk. You might have a better, more ergonomic chair or anything like that. Or you might just have the very basics and you're starting out. You're a 9-to-5er that just got a job, and now you have to wonder, well, where's my next paycheck going to come from? So you decide, well, I'll get on some more podcasts. I'll get on some more conference calls. I'll get some more exposure out here. And this is what you have to work with. Now, we're not going to talk about adding too much, and anything that we add in this video is going to be very low cost. You'll be able to get it for probably under $50 each, and be able to add to your rig so you can do these video conferences, you can do these podcasts even better. Now, we're going to start. We've got a simple white wall, we've got a chair, and we've got a table, and of course we've got your laptop, whatever laptop you have. This is just going to be the basic thing. So you figure, okay, I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to lift up my laptop, and I'm going to start to talk. By doing that, you're not presenting yourself in the best way. And in fact, when you bring up the laptop, chances are the webcam is going to be right about here, and you're going to be tilting your screen back a little bit, and which means that it's going to come up at an angle, and it's going to look really odd. Plus, whatever's behind you, whether it be your living room, your bedroom, or whatever, you're going to see all of that. If the cats come and lie on the bed, or the dog comes and lies on the bed, or the kids come and lie on the bed. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you some basic stuff here that you can do, and if you decide, you can even just get some simple furniture down at wherever cheap furniture area you can get at Goodwill or something like that if they're open, and be able to create your own desk. We'll start with this. This setup is nice, but a better setup is to not have anything behind you. The white wall, okay, it'd be nice if this had a picture on it or something like that. We'll work with this because a lot of homes have this off-white brand look here. So we have the desk, we have the chair, and we have what's behind you. You can get privacy stuff to do that, to make sure that they don't see what's behind you. But the better thing to do is simply just turn the desk. Let me show you. Now I can have a conversation with you, as you can see. And what you're seeing is right behind me is a white wall. Granted, with the lights, you're seeing some reflection on that, but that can be fixed in post-haste. Now, you can bring up your computer and you can start to talk, except you run into the next problem here. And that is your webcam is down here and it's coming up at an angle. And of course, if you go like this, it's going to come up at an angle. And then further, you're going to be looking at the person. You're not going to be looking at the webcam because it's a little black dot in the middle there. We want to be able to make this a little bit more presentable. So here's what I suggest you get: a box. This is one of my production boxes that I use to put stuff on to present. And you simply just put this on top of the box. Now, keep in mind when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you still have airflow underneath your computer. You're going to be running video. It's going to start, the fans are going to start to spin really high. I recommend that you make sure you have some wood that you can put underneath your computer so you can put a little bit of ventilation in there. There's other types of desks that are stands that you can get, but now the webcam is now kind of aligned with your face. It's kind of all even eye to eye. So even if you do look down at the screen and look down at the person talking to you, it's not as noticeable as if it does that upward angle because you've leveled it off. You can actually look at the camera and still have that peripheral of whoever's talking in your eye shot. This is a much better configuration than having it straight on the table, having it looking up. Now, another thing a lot of people do is they put in those earbuds and then they plug it in. You see that a lot in a lot of podcasts. Sometimes it looks okay, sometimes not so much. What I recommend is getting yourself a USB mic. Now, this one I just reviewed on another video by Fifine, F-I-F-I-N-E. And what this is a simple podium microphone. It is a double gooseneck, so you can adjust it to yourself. You don't need to have it right here. You don't need to talk like that, but having it pretty close is a good idea. You can adjust it so this ball right here will point right at your mouth. Two cool things about the Fifine is one, it's got a mute button when you have it plugged in, and the other, it's got this volume button. So if they're saying, I can't hear you that much, you can turn this up a little bit more. But you don't want to make it too loud because then it gets really noisy. And this does have some noise canceling technology in it. So if somebody's doing something, they won't hear it as much as they hear it with your voice. And of course, with the mute button, all you have to do is press the mute and press the unmute. There you have a system where you can have a conversation with somebody. Now, there's other ways that you can do this. You can set up and have a webcam. Like for instance, I had to search for my webcams, by the way. Logitech has several different webcams. The 920 is usually a model a lot of people get. And the technology hasn't changed too much since 2012. So if you have that webcam somewhere, just pull it out of the mothballs and set it up. They now have them with AI abilities, so it can do face tracking and do a little bit of adjustments. On the Mac, when you do get these types of cameras, Logitech has a webcam control software. There's also an independent webcam control software you want to download and install. That way it'll adjust the focus, especially if you have this white wall behind you. It might start going out of focus, and if you get out of shot or something like that, because it gets confused because all it sees is a white wall. And the other thing is you could set this onto a tripod, or you could set it right onto the computer like this. If you do have to see the other people, you want to have your computer close to do that. But always remember that the camera lens is the best thing to look at. In my main studio, I have a TV behind my camera. So I can look at the TV from time to time and still look at the camera lens as well. Now, one more thing we're going to talk about, and that's lighting. LED lighting is rather cheap. This is an older CN126 from Newer. And Newer makes a bunch of these types of lights. You can go online and see these anywhere $30 under. And you'll be able to put it, once again, you put it onto a tripod, you can put it right here. You can make it as bright or as dim as you want, because the better you have things set up, the better you come across for a podcast, for a video conference. So you want to turn off things like Box and Dropbox and OneDrive, pause them so they don't do any syncing while you're online. Same thing is with your Internet Explorer, your Google Chrome, your Edge, your Firefox, your Safari, is to close as many browser windows as possible. Because when you do that, that's going to free up not only the resources, but you never know when a web page decides, oh, after so many minutes, it's going to reload the web page. Or all of a sudden, we're going to play a video because you stayed on our web page this long. Or any of these, not only is that going to interrupt with sound, but it's also going to interrupt with bandwidth, and you want to curtail that as much as possible. So turning off all the programs, even the scanning programs, like I have Clean My Mac on this machine, and I pause that when it's time to actually do a recording. We've got a light, we've got a USB, mount here, and of course we've got a camera. With this all together, let's put it together and go from there. Let's hook it up. So this is me talking on the computer here for any type of podcast. I can kind of see myself down here. When I look down a little bit, you might notice if you really look hard, but here I am, and I've got a more level head than if this computer, let me show you the difference between this. Let's bring the computer down. And this right here. As you can see, there's a big difference as you're seeing, now you're starting to see up my nose instead of a level head. Let's go back to here. Make sure we'll frame ourselves a little bit. Make sure that your head, as you can see, with the way I have it set up, is my head. There's a little bit of space right on top of the frame, but I'm smack dab in the middle on top of the frame, and I'm looking more at the camera. Of course, in this case, I have a green light I can also focus on, because that means that the camera is running, and so I can talk like this, and it looks a lot better than if I had this down below and had earbuds in. Just didn't look like I was totally prepared for it. All right, so now this is an ideal situation for any type of podcast or anything like that. I can put some headphones in if I want to. I definitely will want to do that if they're talking back to you. There are ways to put speakers down below so they don't leak into the microphone, so you don't need to have headphones in. But that's usually the best thing. A nice set of headphones as opposed to AirPods, so you're not doing this the whole time. A nice podium microphone allows you to move around without being tethered to the computer. Having a webcam that could also be replaced, so you can move the computer back down. You don't have the box situation. And of course, a good light. It doesn't have to be this. It could be a living room light or something like that. That's behind the camera. That's the key right there. It's behind my lights right now are behind the camera, lighting up this area. That allows you to look your best for any type of situation. That will help you create the best live stream or guest spot possible. Because you want to look more head on, so you have more of an eye-to-eye conversation with whoever you are talking to. And that is what makes deals, is that eye-to-eye contact. Am I looking at you? Are you looking at me? Can I read your face? I hope that this has helped. Thank you guys very much. Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine. And let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you want more instructional videos like this. And of course, I'm going to be doing a lot more one-on-one conversations with people. So if you want to be part of that, let me know. Hopefully that helps with putting together just a very simple, basic studio. You don't have to get as complex that I do. I have Like I have a sit-stand desk right here that I have on wheels, so I can roll it one way or another if I ever need to. I got a professional mixer. I've got cameras. I got lights lighting up this whole room, and of course sound control, as opposed to the other place, which will have sound control very soon. One thing that we added here, another idea, instead of, if you don't want a box, you can do this. This is basically just a shop step stool that you can put your laptop on and get the height there. There's many different types of step stools that'll do this, but the coolest thing about this is it folds flat. And I actually got one here in the studio down at my feet, because I'm actually in more of a standing height than with it on a chair that rises up higher. And then I use the step stool to hold, just to rest my feet on. I did add the Logitech camera there, and then of course I talk about using some sort of headphones. Apple AirPods Pro is one of my main choices for any type of listening, because it does have the noise cancellation, and when you're trying to focus on what people are saying, having the noise cancellation there, it's kind of nice. But other than that, we've got the Pile Portable. This is a really nice find under well, it's 12 right now, 1236. And then the newer, they have the 160 LED lights. That's battery driven. You have to buy a battery, but I know that newer also makes an adapter that lets you plug it in. In fact, in the back of that light does have the adapter. I have the same ones up here that are plugged into the wall. There are also some options that have batteries in them. Ones I really like that I have, and I've shown these off before, are the Lytra lights. They're really small, as you can see. And then they have the Lytra Pro, which is a little bit bigger, but these are a little bit more expensive lights there. So this is the newer light that I was just talking about. 160 LEDs. This is the newer version, so it's a lot flatter than the one I have. The one that you saw over there, I've had that for a few years. And of course you can put it onto a cowboy stand and put the battery in. And oh, this one does have DC. Okay, so I think I linked that one in the show notes there. So, and of course this is the gooseneck microphone that I was telling you about. When I did video I called Podium Mics, I talked about that. And I reviewed 3 or 4 of those Podium mics, because those are great to have, because sometimes you just don't want to have anything around your head, and sometimes I use my headset, and right now I'm using a Podium mic right now to talk to you guys. And what's really cool about that is I could be a little bit more mobile, like when I had to move over to the other side, set up, ready to go. And a lot of podcasters love that. Some of them love to have those microphones in front of their faces. It's not my thing. I like to keep it as open as possible. You need to see me, I need to see you, type thing. And I really like that. So I showed that. And of course the webcam in question. This is the Logitech 920. This one has a privacy shutter on it, which is basically just a yeah, that was a weird zoom. Which is basically just a ability to put a cover over the lens. And the cool thing, this does 1080p. This one has stereo and dual mics in it, so you could actually use the microphones. So you can set that up, and they work for Google Hangouts. They work for FaceTime on a Mac. You definitely don't need to have the pro cameras that I have and capture cards and things like that. You can, but you don't need to. But really, I guess the real question is, what are you guys using? What are you doing for your live streaming or video conferencing or podcasting efforts? I think it's very important especially if you're just doing video conferencing, if you got to do that call-in, whether it be through Zoom or through GoToMeeting or something like that, you can look your best and sound your best. And even in that, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to use the new studio in this case, is because it's so bouncy in there, and a lot of your places are going to have that same noisy bounce. So I wanted you to hear how the microphone sounds. I wanted you to hear how it looked when you turned the desk around, you had nothing behind you. Now, I know many people that use a MacBook. They use the audio from the MacBook. They use the video from the MacBook, and it works well. In fact, you saw the video from the MacBook. I used that web camera. That wasn't too bad. I want to get your guys' input. What do you guys think? Does this work for you? Do you have any tips or tricks to making the perfect video conferencing? We could get into things like makeup. We could get into things like isolation chambers and things like that to really kill the sound. One of the best ideas that you could ever do is if you have a closet that you can go into. You can pad everything around. You can even move your shirts to the side so they're not in the frame. Go in there, as long as nobody can see that it's a closet, they won't care. I know many podcasters that use their closets for their podcasting because they're not on video, so they can be right next to their shirts and pants, and you wouldn't know it. Well, with the closet, you can also set up lights so that they are positioned a little bit better, so they're not in your face. Like in this studio, the lights are above my head, so they're shining down this way. All right, well that does it for this episode. I hope you enjoy. Well, you let me know your tips for creating these awesome video conferences or awesome podcasts or whatever, and then we'll go from there. Here's all my socials. You can find me on Geekazine, Think Magazine, put in a geek. Talk about it. We'll get some more products, and we'll see you next time. This has been another Geek Tech Talk Live with Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, geek out. Take care.